Hello and welcome to today's lesson. To get access to our starter pack files such as blueprints, technical primer PDFs, native CAD files, as well as exclusive master courses, join our community on Patreon at patreon.com/ArielCad3D. You'll find the link in the description below. We can now assemble all our parts because we are done creating them, the 5 parts. And we'll start by just creating a product. So you go to part design or assembly design, right? You can go to mechanical design, assembly design. You can name it. Not reframe, but properties. And we'll call this the knuckle joint assembly. Okay, you can choose to save it, but first I'm going to bring in the components, existing components, and you will select each one by one. I'm going to start by fixing this before I bring in the rest so that it can be our base product. All right, then repeat the same process and bring in all the other parts. I'm not sure if you can select more than one. Let's see, collar, a pin. All right, that's even much easier. Right, so the reason why they appear to be assembled is because we used kind of the same center. When I was designing this, I kept that in mind, like this side is where we're going to have the center and so on and so forth. But let's say they are not aligned. So if I can move the components like that. So the first part, like I said, it is to fix the base product or the base component. And that's where your origin is going to be for the assembly. Because it's not always that every component has the same center that aligns with this one. Or you could have different components designed by different engineers on different computers and you want to assemble them. So the first constraint we're going to use is going to be the coincidence constraint to align this particular center as it was on the drawing. So we will start with the fork, obviously, and the eye end. So you hover anywhere over the cylindrical part and it's going to automatically highlight the center. So we've aligned those two. I'm also going to align this one with this one. Okay, then I'm going to align this with this one, and I can insert this at the end. But before I update, okay, so let's say all these three now have, or let me update, all these three are going to be aligned along the same center. But as you can see, we've only aligned the centers, but we've not defined the contact points or the offset distance. That's why we are able to align them like this. So obviously we want this one to be right here. So and because we actually used exact measurements, you can use either a contact or an offset constraint. If you select the face, I want to make a contact between this face and the one at the bottom, like that. So now if you update, it's going to make contact between those two faces, and then the coincidence constraint is going to make sure that the holes are completely aligned. Now let's say I want this pin to go all the way through. Once again, you can use a contact between this face and the bottom of the head. So you use contact where you want the surfaces to absolutely be in contact. If you need a clearance, or let's say you are going to insert a gasket, you are going to use an offset, and then you can say 0.05 millimeters or 1 millimeter or whatever distance you want to leave out. Lastly, we want the pin. Now right here, I'm not going to use contact between the top surface and this bottom surface. Why? Because the priority is to have these two holes aligned. So I'm going to insert a coincidence constraint between this hole. You just highlight the inner part of the hole, which is cylindrical, like so, and then you are going to update. So we've got two. We've got the coincidence of the two holes as well as the coincidence of these two cylinders. Now lastly, you want this pin to go in here, but I do want it to face the other way around. I didn't want to start from this side, so you can actually just rotate like so. Make sure it faces that direction, and then I don't know if coincidence is going to work with a tapered side, because you see there's not a cylinder. Okay, so that is not going to work. So what I think I'm going to do, because I remember I used multi-section surface to create this. So what we can do is to create an axis. We can actually create a temporary axis. I'm going to first see if the axis system passes through the center, and if the axis system passes through the center, then perhaps I can use that to create a coincidence constraint between the axis of this part and of this hole. Okay, and lastly, now we can use an offset constraint to define how far it goes inwards. But remember, this was 5 millimeters. The whole diameter was 5 millimeters, and we had 6 up to 4. So it's kind of in the middle, and the overall distance, if I remember, was about 60. Was it 60? I might have to check. You can just measure between two faces. We are going to measure between two faces. This one and this one. That is 60 millimeters. So we know that the center is going to be at 30. From here to the center is 30. And then you can determine what was the, I don't remember. What was the outer diameter for this component? 22.5. Okay, so that gives us, is it 45 or 50? Oh, sorry, it's 45. Okay, 45. So using that, you can say the midpoint for this one up to this part is 22.5, and you want this overall is 30. So you're going to subtract that. Let me say 30 minus 23, which will be 7.5. So I'm going to offset this face from this edge. I don't know if I will be able to select the edge. I wanted to select the edge. Okay, I can offset from the center. the distance from the center to this part should be 30. That's much easier. I don't know why I was doing all the calculations. The distance from the center to this part will be 30 millimeters. Let me see. The other side. Okay. Offset. Let me write -30 because I don't know. I usually switch it here by saying same side or different side. Let me go with -30. And now it's at the middle. Okay, so we didn't actually have to do all the calculations and all that. So you can just use the axis and a face to offset a distance, and your joint will be fully constrained. If you wanted to create, some animations, now you can go ahead and do that, like to show the degree of freedom, or to animate the entire process, which I'm not going to show in this video, but I might create a video very soon to show you how we create those animations, the assembly animations. You can go ahead and hide the constraints, and you can apply materials at this point if you want, but I'm just going to leave it like that. I hope you enjoyed this simple tutorial, especially if you are a beginner. You can proceed to the other projects on my page if you want to advance your skills, and if you want to go absolutely pro, you can go to my Patreon, and there you'll find further master courses such as the Air 1 eVTOL that we are creating right now, and you'll be able to get all the industry standard skills that you need when you're using Catia, especially for advanced surface design. Okay, that's it for this lesson. It was very short, but I hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next lesson.